Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday program. आपका स्वागत है रिया, हिमांशु और कौन कौन है, जानवी. Okay. So we'll wait a little bit, Janu, before we start. Hare Krishna. Okay, Janavi, you can start.
Okay, Haribol. So today I'll be talking about some unheard benefits of chanting and hearing that have been explained by Srila Prabhupada. The first benefit is that if one's mind is always engaged in chanting and hearing the holy name, then it is not roaming around, then one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed by by Lord Chaitanya, by the Bhakti Yoga process beginning from hearing and chanting, one can clearly see the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The next benefit of hearing about Krishna is that simply by hearing, you are touching Krishna by oral reception. If you see Krishna the deity, that means you are seeing Krishna personally. Krishna is presented in the form of his transcendental name, and we can contact him immediately by hearing. By simply hearing the name Krishna, we become uncontaminated. The Lord's holy name is called Shravana Mangala. This means that one receives everything auspicious simply by hearing the holy name. Another benefit of chanting and hearing the holy name is that it controls the senses. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be freed from all undesirable habits. That this is the means of awakening all good fortune, initiating the flow of waves of love for Krishna. Now let us all chant one round together. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Kinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnivadi Pasaradeshatayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Rita Giridhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rame Rama Rame Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare Hare.
Ram.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jai Vanchakalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhujparitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Vaishnava Thakur Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So we had a big celebration last week. We had His Holiness Srila Navagindra Maharaj Vyas Puja celebration. We had the Yagya for everybody in India. And then we had Nashinga Chaturthi, sorry, Nashinga Chaturthi. So we had all these festivals. Now we are back again to our program. And if you all remember, we talked about time last session. We went into detail of the age of the universe, the different time units, and we have this fundamental principle of time and space, which are energies of Krishna. So this being a very strong point, we're going further. The application of space and time in our Vedic scripture is very scientific, right? It's not something which is like limited and based on mental speculation. It says exact, just like we've seen last time. The time scale is so exactly described, and so today we're going to talk about Vedic cosmology. So this physical universe, as described in the Vedic literature. So let me share my screen. So, wait a second. PowerPoint. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, if you can see my screen, you can say Hari Bol. Janavi, you can see my screen?
No.
Or you can't see my screen? Okay, 1 second.
Prabhuji, Param and Soham and myself, we both are in the class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, welcome. So let me share the screen. Why not sharing? 1 second. Okay, see ya. Okay, now you can see the screen.
Haribol.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about Vedic cosmology, which is a continuation of time and space, and जो भगवान की शक्ति हैं उसको समझने के लिए और हमारे जो ग्रंथ है स्पेसिफिकली श्रीमद् भागवत में भगवत पुराण, विष्णु पुराण और सूर्य सिद्धांत के आधारित पे है. So the Vedic cosmology, which refers to the physical universe, the structure and the whole creation of Lord Shri Krishna. So आप लोग याद होंगे जब हम लोग शुरुआत में भगवान का अनेक अनेक अवतार का चर्चा किए थे, हम लोग पुरुष अवतार के बारे में बातचीत किए. तो महाविष्णु जो पूरा अनेक ब्रह्मांड जब सांस लेते हैं, अपने अपने करोड़ों ब्रह्मांड प्रकट होते हैं, और जब सांस अंदर लेते हैं तो करोड़ों ब्रह्मांड समा जाते हैं उनके शरीर में. So as Mahavishnu breathes out in the causal ocean, there's so many universes are being created, and it comes out from his pores of his body, and then when he breathes in, there's so many universes are assimilated inside his body. So that is in the causal ocean, when he lies in the causal ocean, the Purusha avatar, the first Purusha avatar. Then we talk about the Garbhadaksha Vishnu, which lies on the Ananta Shesh, and from his navel, the Brahma prakat hote hain in each of the universe. So we will start from there, because if you can see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakrite shuyate sacharacharam hetunanena kunteya jagat viparivartate. So Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita that this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its rule. This manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. तो ये जो सृष्टि है भगवान है, ये सब भगवान के शक्तियां हैं, और उन अनेक अनेक शक्तियां भगवान, जैसे का बहिरंग शक्ति है, भगवान का अंतरंग शक्ति है, और भगवान का तथाश्रय शक्ति है. तो भगवान का जो बहिरंग शक्ति है, दिस मैटेरियल एनर्जी जो है, ये सब चीजें जो हम देख रहे हैं इस क्रिएशन में, इस भौतिक संसार में, ये सब भगवान का बहिरंग शक्ति है. और भगवान श्री कृष्ण ही अनेक अनेक प्रकार का, वैसे भगवान वो अपनी लीला में मस्त रहते हैं, लेकिन वो अपने पुरुष अवतार के द्वारा ये सब क्रिएशन करते हैं। और ये पुरुष अवतार जो मैंने कहा, महाविष्णु, गर्भदक्ष विष्णु, किशोरदक्ष विष्णु, तो ये 3 अवतार जो है वो इस भौतिक संसार में अनेक अनेक प्रकार का कार्य करते रहते हैं। तो ये स्पेसिफिकली ये जो ये संसार है, ये इज ए मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ कृष्ण, और ये क्रिएशन और एनिलेशन, प्रलय होता है, तो ये सब क्रिएशन जो होता है प्रकट होते हैं उस महातत्व के द्वारा। जितने भी तत्व होते हैं, इंग्रेडिएंट्स ऑफ क्रिएशन जो कहते हैं, तो भगवान के दृष्टि के द्वारा ये सब क्रिएशन होते हैं, उनकी एनर्जी डालते हैं। तो हम भी ये भी देखेंगे कि इस भौतिक संसार में भी जब आप क्रिएशन की बात करते हैं, जैसे वेस्टर्न लोग सोचते हैं ये एक बिग बैंग थियोरी जो कहते हैं, अलग अलग, ये भी आउटडेटेड हो गया। जो अलग अलग थियोरी है, स्ट्रिंग थियोरी जो होते हैं, जहाँ भी अलग अलग एक्सपेंशन ऑफ यूनिवर्स, एक्सपेंशन एंड कंट्रैक्शन ऑफ यूनिवर्सेस होता है, और ये थोड़ा सिमिलर है हमारे सिद्धांत के द्वारा, वैष्णव सिद्धांत के द्वारा जो स्ट्रिंग थियोरी होते हैं। तो लेकिन जो मेन सबसे प्रथम शास्त्र जो हम लोग ये जो हम लोग ये जब ज्ञान मिलते हैं, ये सब चीजें, ये भगवद गीता, श्रीमद् भागवतम, विष्णु पुराण और सूर्य सिद्धांत के द्वारा हम लोग वैदिक कॉस्मोलॉजी को एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं। इस तरह से वैष्णव ट्रेडिशन में ये हम लोग ये 3 चीज इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो is there any volunteer who wants to read the purport by Srila Prabhupada? कोई पढ़ना चाहते हैं, हाथ खड़े कर सकते हैं। ये purport पढ़ करके हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। Nobody?
Prabhuji, Soham would like to read.
Okay, please read. Go ahead. The purport.
It is clear stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities in the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme and will and the backbone of the material manifestation. But the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that all of his
living entities.
The living entities in different forms and species. I am the Father. The Father gives seed to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord, by all his activities, all these living entities born under the glance of the Supreme Lord take out their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately because he glances over material nature. There is undoubtedly activity in the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Shrimpi when there's a fragrant flower before someone. The fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, yet the smelling flower is detached from one another. The similar connection is between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Naturally, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates his glands and organs and summary material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Godhead cannot do anything. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from material activity.
तो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ये उदाहरण देते हैं, जैसे एक फूल लेते हैं, किसी को रखते हैं किसी के सामने, और ये जो फूल है वो एक खुशबू प्रकट होते हैं, राइट। और हम लोग अपने स्मेलिंग जो हम लोग सांस लेकर के हम उसको महसूस कर सकते हैं। तो जैसे वो स्मेलिंग जो उसका खुशबू है और फूल से थोड़ा डिटैच्ड है, वैसे ही भगवान भी अपने जो कार्यकर्ता जो करते हैं भगवान, वो इस भौतिक संसार से भी डिटैच हो जाते हैं। वो बस सिंपली अपने ग्लैंस के दृष्टि के द्वारा ये पूरा प्रकृति को प्रकट करवाते हैं। इसको कहते हैं अंग्रेजी में इम्प्रेग्नेट करते हैं मैटेरियल नेचर को। फिर उसको ऐसे अपने रूल्स जो होते हैं, जैसे समय, कर्म, ये सब भगवान के नियम के द्वारा ये चलता है ये संसार। तो इसीलिए भगवान डायरेक्टली इन्वॉल्व नहीं होता है इस भौतिक संसार से, और वो डिटैच रहते हैं। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है समझने के लिए। तो आप ये देखते हैं हमारा एक यूनिवर्स, तो इफ यू कैन सी आवर यूनिवर्स इज एग शेप्ड, और ये जो आप देख रहे हैं ये करोड़ों यूनिवर्सेस है ऐसे क्रिएशन में, करोड़ों, अनगिनत, we can't really count how many we, so it's अनगिनत यूनिवर्सेस है। तो ऐसे आप देखेंगे शुरुआत में हम शुरू करते हैं गर्भदक्ष ओशन। तो भगवान लेटे हुए हैं अनंत शेष पे, और उन कमल नाभि से ब्रह्मा जी प्रकट होते हैं, और ब्रह्मा जी जो उनके लोक है वहां सत्यलोक कहते हैं इनको। तो there is 14 प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम, 14 लोक है देखते हैं। मेनली शुरू होते हैं ब्रह्मलोक से, और अंत में आप देखेंगे पाताल लोक है जो नीचे पूरा है, और बीच में जो है वो है भूलोक। तो in this 14 planetary system, the earthly middle is made of Swarlok, Bhuvarlok and Bhulok. तो जो मिडल वाला है स्वरलोक, भूवरलोक और भूलोक, वो मिडिल प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम है, 1 2 3। और जो 3 अपर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम है महालोक, जनलोक, तपलोक और सत्यलोक। और जो लोअर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम है वो आताल, विताल, सुताल, तालाताल, महाताल, रासताल एंड पाताल लोक। तो आप देखेंगे ये डिवाइडेड किए हुए हैं मिडिल प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम और हायर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम्स एंड लोअर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम। तो ये भी एक जो हायर प्लैनेट्स बड़ा सटल होता है, बहुत सूक्ष्म होते हैं, क्योंकि हम कभी देख नहीं पाते हैं अपने भौतिक आंखों से। कुछ पार्टिकल्स होता है जो एब्सॉर्ब नहीं करते हैं, तो फिर हम लोग देख नहीं पाते हैं उसको। तो और जो मिडिल प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम्स है, जो हमारा अर्थ प्लैनेट है, भूवर लोग भी आते हैं उसमें बीच में, को हम देख सकते हैं। और लोअर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम है जो ग्रॉस्ड होते हैं, आताल, विताल, पाताल, ये मोर थिंग्स इन द मोड ऑफ तमोगुण इज देयर। सो यू कैन, हम लोग इसको बांट सकते हैं रजोगुण, तमोगुण और सतोगुण। धरती में इज मोर लाइक मोड ऑफ पैशन, राइट, and in higher planets mode of goodness, and the lower planets is more tamasic. So ये बहुत सुंदर बहुत आसान तरीका से आपको समझ आ जाएंगे इस डायग्राम के द्वारा। और हमारा ये भौतिक यूनिवर्स में अलग अलग कवरिंग है, which is 10 times more as we move from one element to the other. Each covering जो है is 10 times the diameter of the previous covering, shell of the universe. So सबसे बड़ा है वो शुरुआत में false ego है, जो ऊपर होता है। So false ego आता है, फिर intelligence आते हैं, फिर mind, right, जो subtle body, subtle coverings होते हैं। तो ये subtle coverings जो होते हैं यूनिवर्स में, वो false ego, intelligence and mind होता है। फिर जो ग्रॉस कवरिंग्स होता है ether, air, fire, water and earth, तो ये उनका कवरिंग है यूनिवर्स में। So in a nutshell, you can really through this picture understand the whole, how this whole universe works, and you can see here Lord Shiva on the left, which is above, above Brahmalok. We have Durga Lok. Actually, above Brahmalok, we have Durga Lok, and above Durga Lok, we have Shiva Lok. And then we have Shiradaksha Vishnu in the milk ocean, on the side where all the different incarnation comes, and Garbhadaksha Vishnu, which is here. This is our Garbhadaksha Vishnu on the lotus, from which Brahma is born, the lotus flower. So I would like to I would like to show a video. It will be like 15 minutes video. आप लोग please note कीजिए जब आप ये video on होंगे. So please take notes of the whole creation. It's a very interesting video, and I'm going to ask a few questions after that. So, and then we'll continue. Could everybody hear the sound?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, I'm going to share this time. Okay, now. Okay, we'll start now.
The universe is a sphere encased by successive coverings of the elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, intelligence, and ego. As a coconut has its hard outer shell.
Everybody can hear properly?
Yes.
Okay, this is the covering of the universe, just like I was mentioning, as the subtle coverings of false ego, intelligence, and mind. And then we have the other gross coverings like earth, water, fire, ether, and air.
And inner liquid. So the universe has its outer coverings and an inner space half filled with ocean water. On that ocean, another Vishnu expansion reclined on a serpent bed while being massaged by his consort Lakshmi. From his navel arose a lotus on which Brahma was born. Initially, the universe was pitch dark and Brahma engaged in meditation. Then he was empowered to create the universe. This account of creation may appear fantastic to some, but modern scientific theories also require fantastic leaps of faith to explain the origin of the universe. Vedic Cosmology explains that the universe is made up of 14 vertically arranged planetary systems, or lokas. Each system resembles a galaxy and comprises stars, planets, and other celestial bodies. The topmost planetary system is Satyaloka, the abode of Brahma, which is at a height of 1.87 billion miles above Earth. Below this Satyaloka planetary system is the Tapaloka planetary system, the abode of the ascetics, which is at a height of nearly 1 billion miles above the Earth. Here, the ascetics live in a solitary, serene environment conducive for yoga and meditation on transcendence. Their disciplined life of joyous austerity prepares them for returning back to the non-material world. As we move down from Tapaloka, we pass through Maharloka and Janaloka until we reach the Svargaloka planetary system, also known as heaven.
And then from the center of the dome, a chandelier, which shows the planets according to the Vedic version.
This planet is a star, is rotating from east to west, and it is hanging like the chandelier, taking shelter of the pole star. That we can see every night.
That the pole star, or the North Star, remains fixed and does not orbit in the sky is well known to astronomers and sailors alike. Less known is the fact that the pole star rotates powerfully on its own axis. The ancient Vedic text called Matsya Purana explains. Stars are all attached to the pole star by invisible astral cords of wind called pravaha. The revolution of the pole star causes the orbital motion of other planets and stars. Through meditation, yogic astronomers visualize the planets and stars as different parts of the body of Shishumar, the transcendental dolphin. The pole star. The topmost of the heavenly planets is like the capital of the middle universe. Here, the third form of Vishnu resides on an ocean of milk. In times of universal disturbances, the demigods headed by Brahma come here to appeal for help. The pole star is also the abode of Dhruva, a pure and exalted devotee of the Lord. The Vedic geocentric model explains how the sun moves around the pole star, situated vertically above Earth's north pole. As the sun goes around the Earth globe, we experience day and night. The stationary Earth, unlike the pole star, does not revolve on its own axis, though it is slightly tilted toward the pole star. During summer in the northern hemisphere, the North Pole experiences 6 months of daylight. Conversely, during summer in the southern hemisphere, the South Pole experiences 6 months of daylight. These 6-month periods correspond to a day and night for the demigods living in the heavenly planetary system. Vedic cosmology accounts for this phenomena by the vertical motion of the sun, technically called Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. The sun moves upward on an incline for half a year, and then downward for the next half. This motion produces 2 effects on Earth, namely the changing of the seasons and the varying durations of day and night. Ordinary vision sees the sun to be a mere globe of fire. However, celestial vision reveals a personality residing over the sun. His name is Vivasvan, and he rides on a golden chariot pulled by 7 divine horses at a speed of 16,000 miles per second. The chariot has 1 wheel which moves on celestial Manasotara mountain. The horizontal shaft is linked to the axial hub of the universe, Mount Meru, and the diagonal shaft is linked to the pole star. With each circular path, the wheel gradually moves laterally inward for 6 months and then outward for 6 months. Similar to the chariot's vertical motion, this lateral action fine-tunes seasonal changes on Earth. When the orbital motion of the sun is viewed from above, its illumination is seen to extend out to half of the greater Earth plane. During its orbit, the sun passes over the 4 cities situated in the 4 cardinal directions. The city over which the sun is passing experiences noon, and the city in the opposite direction experiences midnight. The 2 other cities experience sunrise and sunset.
Although Bhumandala literally means the circle or mandala of the earth, it has little in common with the earth on which we stand. The diameter of Bhumandala is given in the Bhagavatam, and it is about the size of the orbit of Uranus. Bhumandala is divided into a series of geographic features called oceans and islands. But these are geometrically perfect rings of cosmic size with no resemblance to irregular earthly continents. In the center of Bhumandala is the circular island of Jambudvip, with 9 subdivisions called Varshas. These include Bharatavarsha, which can be understood in one sense as India, and in another as the total area inhabited by ordinary human beings. Jambudvip is centered on the geometrically shaped Sumeru mountain, which represents the world axis and is surmounted by the city of Brahma, the universal creator. The Bhagavatam presents astronomy in geographical and mythological language, and the mode of presentation is different from the familiar modern approach. Although the Earth disk of Bhumandala may look naively unrealistic, careful study shows that the Bhagavatam uses it to represent at least 4 different reasonable and consistent models.
Vishnu Purana also describes the Earth as Bharatkanda and gives its diameter as 8,000 miles. The Earth is also referred to by the name Bharatkanda in the invocation Sankalpa mantra chanted by Brahmana priests since time immemorial up until the present day.
Jambudvipe Bharatavarshe Bharatakande Meroho Dakshine Pash.
Vedic cosmology gives descriptions of the entire cosmos, including its subtle features. Perception and access to these subtle features, however, requires karmic qualification. Consequently, much of the cosmos described earlier, as well as parts of the cosmography about to be described, are imperceptible and inaccessible to us earthly inhabitants. Bharatkanda is one of the 9 islands of the larger and originally bow-shaped Bharatvarsha, which was divided by the sons of Sagara. Being completely surrounded by water, the islands are mutually unreachable. In the Vedas, Bharatkanda, our Earth, is also referred to by other names such as Sudarshan Dvip, Kumarika Dvip, and Navadvip, etc. Bharatvarsha, the famous mountains known as the Himalayas are tall and immovable. Here we find an abode of Lord Shiva, the greatest of the demigods. In the center of Jambudvip stands the most extraordinary divine golden mountain called Meru. Meru is shaped like an inverted cone, and it is the sporting place for the demigods. Around Meru are many supporting mountains called Kesara. Jambudvipa is 0.8 million miles in diameter and is surrounded by the saltwater ocean of the same width. On top of Mount Meru is a resort of Brahma called Manovati. The famous celestial river Ganges descends to the center of Manovati and then flows out into 4 directions. Surrounding Manovati in the 8 directions are the resort cities of the chief demigods. One of these cities is Amaravati, the resort of Indra, king of heaven. King Indra lives here in majestic opulence, attended to by musicians, dancers, and reciters. The greater earthly planetary system extends out to the edges of the universe and has a diameter of 4 billion miles. Known as Bhumandala, shaped like a lotus flower, it has 7 concentric islands and oceans with Mount Meru as its pericarp. The 7 oceans respectively contain salt water, sugarcane juice, liquor, clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking water. Sometimes Vedic cosmology is misconstrued as portraying the Earth to be a flat disk. This flat Earth misconception arises partly due to our inability to understand Vedic nomenclature. A single object may be referred to by several names, and a single name may refer to several objects. For example, the term Earth may be used to describe at least 6 different aspects of cosmology. The earth we live on is indeed a globe as explained by the Sanskrit word parimandale, meaning spherical, used in the Mahabharata text. The flat disk refers to the greater earthly planetary system of Bhumandala. 4 elephants of inestimable size are placed at the 4 directions for balancing the greater earth. Below the earthly planetary system are 7 subterranean realms named Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala, which do not receive sunlight and which are inhabited primarily by demoniac living entities. To reach the first one must go 80,000 miles downward through underground tunnels. At successive depths of 80,000 miles are the remaining 6 netherworlds, all of which are fully developed underground civilizations. In the 4th level downward, Talatala Loka, lives the magical architect Mayadanava, who has designed many brilliantly decorated cities where proud materialists reside. Below the netherworlds are the 28 hellish planetary systems. The demigod of justice, Yamaraj, judges the unrighteous human beings after their deaths and sends them to one of these planets. There, errant souls are administered appropriate punitive measures corresponding to their misdeeds.
हरे कृष्णा। तो आप लोगों को कैसे लगा? राधे राधे।
Prabhuji, it was so beautiful.
ये
I don't have words. Oh, I felt like how tiny we are,
yeah.
or nothing. Yeah, nothing.
जय कृष्णा, जय कृष्णा, हरि बोल, जय कृष्णा, हरि बोल। वीडियो कैसे लगा? जय कृष्णा। Okay, Janavi, how did you see the video?
It was interesting to see like how the Earth is made up, and the different like planets like underneath the Earth also.
You see the connection between the whole creation from the material world. It's very difficult to understand the whole creation, but through the video you can see, usually we get knowledge in a ascending order, and this is what they try to do. The devotees try to do it in such a way that we ascend the knowledge like normally we do. Usually spiritual knowledge we receive it in descending order, but here we can see we started from the material world, material creation, the different levels in this material world, which is as complicated as it looks. And that it goes up to the Shiva Lok. And at the end of, before in Shiva Lok, there's Viraj River. At the end of the universe, there's a river known as Viraj. And then we have Shiva, and then we get the Vaikuntha, the Brahma Jyoti, and then the Vaikuntha planets. And it goes on and on up to Goloka Vrindavan. Okay? So Jai Krishna, क्या वीडियो देखा आपने? बोल आवाज आ रहे? आवाज नहीं आ रही उसका. और कौन है? Himanshu, how did you find the video?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Prabhuji, it was wonderful video.
What did you learn? Something new.
I learned many things, but it is hard to put in words.
Okay. One single thing. Say me one thing that you learned. One thing that you didn't know before and then you saw it. That you remember.
So
remember the dag.
Yeah, about the different planetary system.
Okay. Yeah.
And like the upper one and the
middle one and the
middle
lower one.
And the lower one.
Very good, very good. That's nice. Let us see who else is there. Riya. Hare Krishna, Riya ji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
How did you find the video?
Prabhuji, it was very amazing video, and we learned about the spiritual universe, about Golok Dham and Indralok and many other lokas and heavens. But I can't put it in words. So
did you remember the Patal Lok? How the Patal Lok?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The different lower planetary system as well. Different. And then thank you. Let's see who else is there.
Prabhuji, what I learned is all this year I thought Bharat Varsha means Bharat, India. But I mean, our Shastra is telling whole Mother Earth is a Bharat Khanda or Bharat Varsha, and different name for that that globe. So
Ilavatra is one of the name. Navadip is another name. So there's different connotation for Bharata. So not only that, if you see the video, let me go back to the video. I want to show you something which is very interesting since you brought up this this thing. Let me show you something which is interesting that you brought up. Let me see that. Let me show you one thing. Now,
during its orbit,
is divided into a series, another as the torque of Bhumandala made to Sumeru Mountain, which is different from the familiar modern approach. Although the
okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, you can hear me. That's good. Now you see the Bhumandal is an expansion. It's like a card, just like we have maps. It's like a map. It's like a map projected on the earth as well. So in that instant, you can see Bharatvarsha in the south part of the Mount Sumeru. So this is north. You see my arrow? Can anybody see my arrow?
Yes.
My cursor? Yeah. So this is Sumeru. This is north. South is down here where Bharatvarsha is. And then we have east and then west. So now, if you see here, let us see this one. So
models.
Vishnu Purana also describes the earth as Bharat Khanda and gives its diameter as 8,000 miles.
So the earth is a Bharat Khanda. It's also known as Bharat Khand. The earth itself, the earth planet, is known as Bharat Khand. And then
the earth is also referred to by the name Bharat Khanda in the invocation Sankalpa mantra chanted by Brahmana priests since time immemorial up until the present day.
Jambudvipe Bharatavarshe Bharatakande Meroho Dakshine Pash.
Vedic cosmology gives descriptions of the entire cosmos, including its subtle features. Perception.
And now you see these islands here. If you count, you should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be 9 islands. And this is the Mount Everest. This whole this big mountain here at the back. That is a Mount Everest, and the bottom is here. So let us see more.
And access to these subtle features, however, requires karmic qualification. Consequently, much of the cosmos described earlier, as well as parts of the cosmography about to be described, are imperceptible and inaccessible to us earthly inhabitants. Bharat Khanda is one of the 9 islands of the larger and originally bow-shaped Bharat Varsha, which was divided by the sons of Sagara. Being completely surrounded by water, the islands are mutually unreachable. In the Vedas, Bharat Khanda, our earth, is also referred to by other names such as Sudarshan Dvip, Kumarika Dvip, and Navadvip, etc.
Sudarshan Dvip, and what else? Haribol?
Navadip, Sudarshan
Navadip.
Deep,
Yeah.
Sudarshan Deep, Navadip, Bharat Khanda, or there is one more, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so let's see.
In the Vedas, Bharat Khanda, our earth, is also referred to by other names such as Sudarshan Dvip, Kumarika Dvip, and Navadvip, etc.
Kumarika Dvip.
Kumarika means unmarried girl.
Yeah. So see, there's other many names. So that one is Kumarika Dvip. So what this one is what I want you guys to see, the Bhumandal, and then we have in the center of the Bhumandal we have the Mount Meru, and the Mount Meru is surrounded by 12 wind tracks with planets forming a sort of umbrella or bracket, and this is how the Mount Meru in the center, right? And you can see the different layers. This is east. Actually, that's the opposite. Actually, we should have a north view. In the video, there was a north and a south view. So if this is east, so that will be west, and this will be north, and that will be south. So south area will be here. And these are the different layers, the different disk of, if you see from down, ether, air, fire, water, and earth. These are different layers. So the space and dimension is like a multi-dimensional thing. That's why we can represent it in that particular type of picture, because it's very difficult to represent something which is multi-dimensional in a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional frame. So that's the only. That's why we use this type of shape to explain these things. So we can see this in the center. Mount Meru or Sumeru is here, which is the center of the universe, and the sun rotates around Mount Sumeru. You will see this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's like a top view plan, a top plan from the top. If you see on the top, you can see this this map, which is called the Bhumandal planetary system. And Krishna has made it a thing of, Krishna has made it so nicely, so perfect, this Bhumandal, which is shaped in like a lotus flower, and the different dvipa in between. That's what we could see in the video. So we can see at the center here, that's the Mount Sumeru, and in different circles, different oceans are being represented. We have the Jambu Dvipa, and then we have the saltwater ocean, and we have the Palakshadvipa, then we have the sugarcane ocean, and we have Samaldvipa, then the liquor ocean, Shatdvipa, clarified butter, then Krondvipa, milk. Sorry, sorry. The Kronchadvipa, milk ocean, Sakadvipa, yogurt ocean, and Pushkara Dvipa, the clear water ocean. Right? So these are different dvipa.
Prabhuji, can I add something here?
Yeah, please.
So we always hear Gajendra Moksha. Gajendra Moksha happened on Karna Deepa.
Okay. The Krona Dvipa just the milk ocean is.
Yes, so it happened there.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then we can see the residence of Yamaraj on Samyamani. And this is a trajectory which is going around. You can see the distance is very exact from the center of Mount Sumeru. This is the Samyadeepa where Yamaraj reside is 15,750,000 yojanas, and one yojana is about 8 miles. Actually, it's 7 point something miles, but it's around 8 miles, we can say. So you have to multiply by this by 8 to get an exact in terms of miles. And the residence of Indra also is the same yojanas. And the last the shell, last orbit that we can see here. Now this distance, if you see these different distances in the same yojanas we're talking, we have Yamaraj, Indra, and moon god Vibhavari, and then the Mansatara mountain range. They are same distances from Sumeru, but in different levels.
Direction also, I think.
Yeah, in different directions and levels. Just like the Yamaraj would be in the south, Indra would be in the east, Vibhavari, moon god, would be in the north, and we have the residence of Varuna would be in the west. So here we have from this is a very simple diagram. From the top view, we can see at least the distances. But if you want to really figure it out in a three-dimensional framework, then you have to see there were different directions, the cardinal directions, and other space angles and different angular degrees of angles in space. So here, the other important thing that we can see from this diagram is the shell of the universe. And you can see that from Mount Sumeru, it will be considered to be like the radius. So you can see the radius of the universe, which is actually it's an egg shape. But at least we can see the distance from Mount Sumeru, which is the center. From the center to the edge of the shell of the universe is how many? 125 million yojanas. At least no, not this. It's much more. It's 125 million plus 125 million here. So it's 250 million yojanas. Because it's 125,000 up to the golden land, to the mountain range of Lokalak. And then there's 125 million more covering the Aloka Varsha up to the end. So it's 250 million yojanas as a diameter. So you can see how our scripture are very, very exact. They give exact dimensions between these different parts of the universe. So the Vedic texts describe these different planetary systems very with a lot of precision. It's not, somebody can't say that, oh, it's all made up or refined. I know it was really calculated exactly. It's perfection. So and just to conclude, the Bhumandal, the map shows a Bhumandal planetary system as viewed from the above. Bhumandal is like a lotus, and its 7 islands, Dvipa, resemble as it were. In the middle of the central island is Jambudvip, stands Mount Sumeru, a mountain of solid gold. Jambudvip is surrounded by an ocean of salt water, which is surrounded by the next island, Plakshadip. Each island is thus surrounded by an ocean, and then another island. That's what we saw here. Each island is surrounded. Here you can see at the center here, we have Jambudvipa, saltwater. So then we have an ocean, and then we have another dweep, Plakshadweep. Then we have another type of ocean, sugarcane. Then we have another dweep, which is Salmatdweep, and then another ocean. It goes like that up to 7. Okay, that's what we are talking about. The outermost island, the Pukshara Dweepa, is divided into 2 by a great mountain named Mansotara. And the sun orbits on top of this mountain and thus encircles Mountain Sumeru. So this is the sun orbits on top of that. So that's the trajectory. You can see the orbit of the sun on that Polakshara Dweepa. So this will be the orbit of the sun. If you follow my cursor on the last one, so it will. This is how the sun goes around that orbit. Okay, and then we can see on the Mansutara mountain in the 4 directions are the residential quarters of the 4 prominent demigods that I mentioned: the moon god, the Varuna god, Indra, and then Yamraj. So beyond the outermost ocean and a land made of gold stands Loka mountain, which is extremely high and which blocks the sunlight, so that Aloka Varsha, the land beyond, is dark and uninhabited. So there's parts of the universe which is dark and uninhabited. You can see that here, as mentioned. This map is not drawn to scale. That map that I showed is not. In reality, the innermost island, Jambudweep, is 100,000 yojanas wide. Each ocean is as broad as the island it surrounds, and each succeeding island is twice as broad as the one before it. So the total diameter of the universe is 500 million yojanas, that's like we mentioned. Thus, if the entire map were drawn to the same scale as Jambudweep, now if we try to draw to the same scale, the distance from the center of the map to its outermost edge would have to be almost half a mile. So we would have draw the map on a piece of paper which is half a mile long. So that's why we can't draw this whole thing to scale, so that we can have an idea about it. Now the Loka mountain forms the outermost and highest ring of petals. The top of Meru, which has a diameter of 32,000 yojanas, is 84,000 yojanas above the plane of Bhumandala planetary system. Now we go a bit from the base of the to up. Now we're talking about vertical length now. So and its base is 16,000 yojanas below this plane. So Meru is like a sort of cone, upside down cone. So it grows narrower bottom and wider on the top. So you can remember that the top of Meru is a diameter of 32,000 yojanas. Okay, it's a diameter. And the down it goes smaller and smaller up to the base, which is 16,000 yojanas. So from 32,000 to 16,000, it goes like a cone. Now the central island of the Bhumandala is Jambudweep, with a diameter of 100,000 yojanas. And on Jambudweep, Mount Sumeru is made of solid gold. So this orange picture here, this is the Mount Sumeru that you are seeing. This mountain shines so brightly that it looks as if it's made of fire. And Jambudweepa comprises 9 different areas, each 9,000 yojanas long. Each area is divided from its neighbor Varsha by 8 long mountain ridges, each 2,000 yojanas broad and 10,000 yojanas high. So the central part of Jambudweepa is Ilavarta, and arranged around Meru, where there are 4 mountains, each 10,000 yojanas high and 10,000 yojanas broad. On the top of each mountain, there's a tree. Each tree is 1,100 yojanas high and 100 yojanas broad. The spread of these trees is 1,100 yojanas across. So you can see this is, to a small brain, this is really incomprehensible how much detail and these descriptions are given in our scripture. So once we understand that, then we can really understand that this material world is not as simple as people make it to be. So look like. So it's very detailed, and we will end here for today because it's too much. I don't want to give too much information in one day. We will keep the part 2 for next week. Yeah, so next week we'll do the second part. This was the first part. At least in this first part, you got a whole idea about Vedic cosmology, the different planetary system, how is being explained in the Vedic scripture. So, yeah, everything we studied today comes from the Shrimad Bhagavatam, the Vishnu Puran, and the Surya Siddhanta. So that was a question from Himanshu. So you can note that everything that we studied comes from the Shrimad Bhagavatam. In the Shrimad Bhagavatam, the 5th canto has complete detail about the different parts of the universes. And the picture that we mentioned is from the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Before I leave you, any question anybody has? Next week, we're going to do the part 2. We'll finish it with a few more details. And yes, Haribo.
I have one question.
Yes, Mataji.
We learned that our Bharat Khanda, the Earth planet, is a 7th island and surrounded by water, but we don't see immediately the ocean.
Now, wait. Bharat Khanda is not Bharat Varsha. There's difference. Bharat Varsha and then Bharat Khanda. Okay. The planet Earth is the Earth planet is different, and the Bharat Khanda is a place where we have the 9 planets, not nine Dvipa, 9 islands.
So I'm talking about Bharat Khanda, Mother Earth, not Bharat Varsha like India.
Okay.
So we saw that image also, right, Prabhuji, that it is on some ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't see ocean surrounding Earth. Maybe after some yojana, the ocean comes. Maybe, as you said, it is in the form of umbrella. The projection in the form of umbrella, the planets are hanging, and could be after certain yojana we can see.
Yeah, because see, if you see the scale itself, then you will understand. I say the scale spread 1 mile, right? Almost 1 mile. If we put it in paper, 1 mile. So now, can you imagine after how much distance the ocean will come? It will be very, very far. We can't really imagine that.
So the ocean will come. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the elements of the ocean is a bit different as well. There's that will I'll touch that in my next second part of the Vedic cosmology, when we will talk about how we see things and how certain things we can't see. We'll talk about that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Janavi, any question? So we'll thank all these, especially all this what I've been talking about. There was a scientist, our ISKCON scientist, Richard L. Thompson, and he wrote a book on Vedic cosmology very long time back. Now he passed away. He was a PhD in quantum mechanics. So all the credit goes to him. He's the one who really explained this in a very nice book called Vedic Cosmology. I used to have that book. I don't have that book anymore now. I have to look for it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Himanshu also taught something on the group. In the chat, everything that we studied today is the come from the Vishnu Puran.
Yeah, it's from the Shrimad Bhagavatam, right? In the Shrimad Bhagavatam and the Surya Siddhanta. That's what we got it. I got it from the Shrimad Bhagavatam. And the other thing is I was mentioning is all the credit goes to Richard L. Thompson. His name was a Prabhupada disciple, and his name he was initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and the name was Sadaputra Das. His initial name was Sadaputra Das, and he was a PhD fellow He studied in quantum mechanics as well, and he did different books, and one of that was Vedic Cosmology. And most of the things that you see, other people, they made that video nicely with all the devotees together. They put up that video, so all the credit goes to him. Okay. Hare Krishna. We'll see you guys next week for the second part. So if people tell your friends about what you saw, and maybe for new people, I'll try to post. Anyway, I'll post my. You'll have access to the video to the whole program, so you can always see that again. And I'll have a few questions, maybe posted on WhatsApp, and you can answer those questions. Okay. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe sab log.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Radhe Radhe.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Radhe Radhe.